The most dangerous lies are not the ones told to you, they are the ones you tell yourself. Every human mind has a built-in defense mechanism that protects the ego, not the truth. When you make a mistake, your brain doesn't want to admit failure, it wants to protect your self-image. So it quietly rewrites the story. It tells you the experiment failed because of bad luck, not bad theory. It tells you the business failed because of the market, not your decisions. This is the seed of self-fooling, a survival instinct that once protected our ancestors from despair, but now protects our ignorance. The shocking part is that the smarter you are, the better you become at lying to yourself, because intelligence gives you more sophisticated excuses. A less intelligent person might believe a simple lie. A genius can construct an entire logical fortress around a false belief and defend it brilliantly. That's why some of history's greatest minds held on to wrong ideas for decades, not because they lacked intelligence, but because their intelligence was used to defend, not discover. Real growth begins the moment you stop asking, "How do I prove I'm right?" and start asking, "How could I be wrong?" That single shift in questioning is the difference between a mind that grows and a mind that decays in comfortable illusion, confirmation bias, seeing only what you want. Your mind is not a camera, it's an editor. It doesn't record reality, it selects it. The moment you form a belief, your brain starts hunting for evidence that supports it and quietly deletes evidence that doesn't. This is confirmation bias, and it is one of the most dangerous traps a thinking person can fall into. You believe a stock will rise, so you only read articles predicting growth. You believe a person loves you, so you ignore every warning sign. You believe your plan will work, so you stop listening to the one voice that says, "Wait, check again." This isn't stupidity, it's a design flaw in human cognition. And shockingly, awareness of the bias does not automatically cure it. Studies show that even trained scientists, statisticians, and doctors fall into it regularly because the trap isn't about knowledge, it's about emotional attachment to being right. The antidote isn't more information, it's structured doubt, actively searching for the opposite of what you believe, deliberately playing devil's advocate against your own ideas, and rewarding yourself for finding your own errors before someone else does. This is how real thinkers immunize themselves. If you don't hunt for your own mistakes, reality will eventually hunt you down instead, usually at the worst possible moment, often too late to fix. The trap of ego and pride. Ego is the loudest voice in the room, and it is almost always wrong. The moment your identity gets attached to an idea, you stop evaluating that idea and start defending it like a soldier defends territory. This is why people argue for hours over things they privately know are shaky, not because the facts changed, but because admitting error now feels like losing a part of themselves. Here's the shocking truth. Ego doesn't protect you, it isolates you. It cuts you off from correction, from feedback, from the very people who could save you from disaster. History is full of leaders, engineers, and thinkers who ignored warnings because accepting them meant admitting they were wrong, and some of those silences cost lives, fortunes, and entire civilizations their future. The strongest minds are not the ones who never feel the sting of ego, they are the ones who have trained themselves to feel it and act against it anyway. They treat being wrong not as an insult, but as information. They separate their worth as a person from the correctness of their last idea. This single separation is one of the rarest skills in the world, because society trains us from childhood to associate mistakes with shame instead of associating mistakes with progress. Unlearning that shame is not comfortable, but it is the price of genuine intellectual freedom. Doubt as a tool, not a weakness. Certainty feels good, it feels safe, strong, final. But certainty is often just comfort wearing the mask of truth. Doubt, on the other hand, feels uncomfortable. Yet doubt is the sharpest tool a thinking mind can carry. The shocking reality is this: the people who changed the world were not the most certain people in the room. They were the most doubtful. They doubted the accepted answer. They doubted their own first conclusion. They kept asking, "But what if this is wrong?" long after everyone else had stopped asking. This kind of doubt isn't anxiety, it's discipline. It's the refusal to settle for an answer just because it feels satisfying. Most people confuse confidence with correctness, assuming that if something sounds convincing, it must be true. But conviction has never been proof of anything except how strongly someone believes it. A confident liar and a confident genius sound exactly the same until you test their claims against reality. That is why healthy doubt must be built into every important decision. Not doubt that paralyzes you, but doubt that keeps checking the math one more time, testing the plan one more time, questioning the assumption one more time. Ironically, the more comfortable you become with uncertainty, the more reliable your conclusions become. because you've stopped chasing the feeling of being right and started chasing the fact of being right. Reality doesn't care about your opinion. No matter how elegant an idea sounds, no matter how many people agree with it, no matter how good it makes you feel, reality does not negotiate. It doesn't care about your credentials, your confidence, or your intentions. A bridge built on flawed math collapses, whether the engineer believed in it passionately or not. A business built on a false assumption fails whether the founder was optimistic or not. This is the shocking equalizer that humbles every human being eventually. Belief has zero power over outcome. Only truth does. The only way to know if an idea actually works is to test it against the world, not against your own comfort or the applause of people who agree with you. Popularity is not proof. Passion is not proof. Even years of hard work invested in an idea is not proof that the idea is correct. It just makes admitting it's wrong more painful. This is why the habit of testing, checking, and verifying is not optional for anyone serious about truth. It is the only real filter between illusion and fact. The world is full of confident people who were completely wrong and quiet people who were right and ignored. Reality eventually reveals both, but by then, the cost of listening to the wrong voice may already be paid in time, money, or things far more valuable that can never be recovered. Honesty with yourself is the foundation of all progress. Every invention, every discovery, every honest relationship, every wise decision in human history shares one hidden requirement: brutal honesty with oneself first. Before you can tell anyone else the truth, you must be willing to hear it yourself, especially when it's inconvenient. This is shockingly rare because self-honesty offers no immediate reward, no applause, no comfort, sometimes not even relief. It only offers the slow, compounding advantage of building your life and work on solid ground instead of illusion. People who master this habit are not necessarily the smartest in the room. They are simply the ones willing to say, "I don't know," or "I was wrong," faster than everyone else. That speed is the real superpower. The longer you protect a false belief, the more expensive the eventual correction becomes in relationships, in careers, in health, in every domain of life. Self-honesty is uncomfortable because it strips away the flattering stories we tell ourselves, but it is also liberating because truth, once faced, can actually be fixed, while illusion can only be maintained at greater and greater cost until it eventually breaks on its own terms, usually without warning and always at the worst time. The people who seem to have extraordinary luck in life are often simply the ones who stopped lying to themselves the earliest. Why you should never fool yourself. What if the most dangerous person in your life is you? Not your enemies, not the people who doubt you, not even bad luck. You? Because here's a secret nobody tells you growing up. The human mind is the world's greatest liar, and its favorite victim is its own owner. You can fool your friends, you can fool your family, you can even fool an entire room full of experts if you're clever enough. But there is one person you can never truly outsmart in the end, and that's yourself, because you already know the truth, buried somewhere under all the excuses. Think about it. How many times have you known, deep down, that a decision was wrong, but you convinced yourself it would work out anyway? How many times did your gut whisper the truth, and your ego shouted louder to drown it out? That whisper was never wrong. It's the shouting that keeps getting you in trouble. Here's the shocking part. The smarter you are, the easier it becomes to fool yourself. Because a brilliant mind doesn't just believe a lie, it builds an entire logical palace around it. It finds evidence, it finds justification, it finds 100 clever reasons why the wrong thing is actually right. And the tragedy is, the better you get at defending your mistakes, the longer you stay trapped inside them. So what's the way out? Doubt. Real, disciplined, uncomfortable doubt. Not the kind that paralyzes you, the kind that keeps checking. The kind that asks again and again, but what if I'm wrong about this? That single question, asked honestly, has saved careers, saved relationships, saved lives. And the absence of that question has destroyed just as many. Reality does not care how confident you feel. It does not care how many people agree with you, how hard you worked, or how good your intentions were. A wrong idea fails whether you believed in it with your whole heart or not. The universe doesn't grade on effort, it grades on truth. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you stop wasting your life defending things that were never going to work in the first place. This is the real difference between people who grow and people who stay stuck. It's not intelligence, it's not luck. It's the willingness to say 4 of the hardest words in any language. I was wrong. Again. Because every discovery, every invention, every honest life ever built was built on the wreckage of 100 small admissions of error. not on pride, not on stubbornness, on honesty. Brutal, humbling, liberating honesty with yourself first. So the next time you feel absolutely certain about something, pause, ask yourself the one question that separates wise people from fools. What if I'm fooling myself right now? That single question might just save your entire future. At the end of the day, the world will always offer you comfortable lies dressed up as confident truths. It will always be easier to defend a mistake than to admit one. But the people who leave a real mark on this world are never the ones who are never wrong. They are the ones who refuse to stay wrong. They questioned themselves before the world had to question them. They chose truth over comfort, even when truth was painful, because they understood a simple law of life: you can only fix what you're honest about. Everything else just quietly breaks later, usually when you least expect it. So carry this with you, not as a rule, but as a habit. Check yourself before you defend yourself. Doubt before you decide. Test before you trust. That habit alone can change the entire direction of your life. What if everything you're so sure about right now is wrong? Not because you're foolish, not because you're careless, but because the human mind was never built to find truth. It was built to feel comfortable, and comfort lies. It tells you the plan will work when it won't. It tells you they still love you when they don't. It tells you you're right long after the